Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Street Tips here, and we're allowing this gold to settle completely. I've allowed it to settle overnight, and what we'll do is we'll pick up right here in part 2 of the waste containers recovery and refining series of videos. Here we go. We've got our first customer for our freshly emptied waste container. Here's the gold that we precipitated in part 1. We're going to pour this waste solution off. I'm going to add a little bit of hydrochloric acid. People are asking why you're calling it hydrochloric acid. It says muriatic acid, and that's because hydrochloric acid and muriatic acid are the two names for the same acid. Now we'll set this up on some heat and boil this in a little hydrochloric acid for a few minutes. Now we're going to pour this hydrochloric acid boil off. Alright, people ask, why do I do these hydrochloric acid boils? If you look at the gold down there, it's a total different color now. And it seems to clean the gold up very nicely for me. So I always do a hydrochloric acid boil. Now we're going to boil it in some distilled water. Now we're going to pour off this water boil. If you look down here, you'll notice that I've already got it started accumulating some gold for the next video that we do of this recovery. The gold just builds up in here, traces of it, and then I recover it, and that's what this is. This used to be down here. Alright, here's what the gold looks down in the bottom of the beaker. It looks spectacular. Now we're going to dissolve the gold a second time. Let me put in some hydrochloric acid. About 150 milliliters, maybe 200. Fill it up to the 200 milliliter level with hydrochloric acid. Next, I'll add some sulfuric acid, and this will precipitate out any lead that may be present. I add this even if I don't suspect lead. Hurts nothing, costs almost nothing, and provides a big benefit. Now we'll set this up on my heat source over here. Now I'll put a few milliliters of nitric acid, form aqua regia down in there, and redissolve the gold a second time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's go with 15. This will be 5 3 milliliter doses of nitric acid. Here you can see the gold immediately begins to dissolve from the aqua regia. I don't see any fumes in that beaker, so I'm fairly certain that we've got all the excess nitrate driven out of here. Let's take it down off the heat and let it cool down now. While I'm waiting for that gold to cool down, take a look inside the silver cells again. There's the numbers. 1.5 amps on the left for silver cell number 1, and 1.7 amps on the right for silver cell number 2. Let's come down here and take a look inside and see what we got going on in here. Looks like I might have to add a little bit of electrolyte to this one. Let's look in here and see what we got. Oh boy, look at that. Look at those crystals growing in there. Look like trees. That is beautiful. So what we'll do is put some more silver shot in here. I'm very pleased with the way this new power supply is performing. Just going to add some more impure silver shot in here. I'm going to keep this silver cell running. I'm allowing the silver that's up in the anode basket to dissolve. I'm not adding any more to that. And if you look down inside the cell here, this one's looking really good as well. I think I'm going to let this go one more day down in there. I'm going to knock some of these crystals down so that we don't make contact with the anode basket. Let this run one more day, I think, and then we'll do the harvest on Sunday. Here you can see some of the crystal is poking up out of the electrolyte. That means the electrolyte level has decreased. So what we're going to do is, I've got some silver nitrate electrolyte. We're just going to add some to the cell so that we cover those crystals so that they're not poking up out of the electrolyte. Now if you look down in here, you're going to see that those crystals on the very bottom of the cell are growing up and toward the and so we want to be careful of that, because those crystals will come in contact with that anode filter, and if they make contact with the anode filter, then it'll burn a hole in that filter bag, and all the slimes will leach out into the electrolyte and ruin the batch. So what I'm going to do here is knock these crystals down and keep them away from the anode basket. Now that the cell's getting pretty full here, I'm going to have to keep a close eye on this. Man, this thing is really cranking along nicely. I think it's only been running for about 3 days. This is the one that's hooked to the Hewlett-Packard power supply. So now we got all those crystals down. I feel a little bit better. We can go ahead and let this thing run now. Let's go ahead and ice this down. Cool it off and help me when I do the precipitation. Still got a fair amount of junk in there, as evidenced by that filter. Don't know what that is or where it came from. It's a good thing we did this second refining. The solution is a little bit cloudy also, so what we'll do is we'll pour it back through the same filter a second time. Not too bad, it's acceptable, but I'm going to try to get it cleared up nicely for us by pouring it back through the same filter a second time. Now that that filter's loaded up, it'll be able to filter out even finer particulate from our gold solution. I've got the solution filtered. I've got a flask back here with sodium metabisulfite slurry in it. I'm going to fill up this we're going to fill up this addition funnel. It's vented so we can generate some SO2 gas and do an SO2 gas precipitation. Got our solution filtered. It's crystal clear, looking real good. We're going to go ahead and start dripping some acid down into our SMB over here. Start flowing some SO2 gas. And now what we'll do is we'll add our gold solution to this clean beaker. Now we'll add some water to our gold solution because this reaction happens better from a dilute solution. Now let's put our delivery tube in and start bubbling some SO2 gas and do an SO2 gas precipitation. Here we go. I'm going to leave this run in real time. Should happen fairly quickly. There it goes. It's already flashing over. It's only been bubbling in there for about 45 seconds. Oh yeah, it's looking good, man. I don't know if you can see that. It's got some color going on in there. See the colors in there? Shouldn't take very long to get all that gold to precipitate. I think I'm agreeing with Andy. He said about 26 grams, and I think that's probably going to be about right on the yield from this refining. Let's get in here and do a stannous test. Get a little bit of our solution on a piece of filter paper. It's going to have a little gold particulate, but we want to see if we've got everything precipitated out of solution. I think we do. That stain you see there is from the particulate, the gold powder that's adhered to the filter paper. Let's go ahead and pull out our gas delivery tube. I'm fairly certain we've got everything precipitated now. Shut off the gas flow in the gas generator. I like to pull off this delivery tube so it doesn't suck sulfuric acid from the bubbler back up into the gas generator. I'll just cover this up and let it settle. I've allowed it to settle completely. Now we're going to pour off this waste solution. And there shouldn't be a whole bunch of junk in here because we use the gas to do the precipitation. I didn't like the way the gold looked, or the filter looked rather, for that last refining. So we're going to do this one more time. I'm adding about 200 milliliters of hydrochloric acid. Now we're going to put in some sulfuric acid, take care of any lead that may be present. And then we're going to go with about 4 squirts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what we'll do is redissolve this gold a third time and refine it one more time, because we're going to try to sell this, I guess, on my eBay site. So I want to make sure that that gold is high purity. Pull this down, let it cool off. And try to move this along. It's getting late. And I'd like to get this video finished up this evening. Here's the filter from that last filtering, from that last refining. So I want to try to get a clean filter. If I can get a clean filter during this phase, then that means I've got some high purity gold. So that's why we redissolve this gold a third time. This thing out of the way. One more time, you can see how clean this filter is now. Very pleased with that. That means the gold is high purity. I'm going to go ahead and add it to our beaker for the reaction. Let's start some acid flow into the gas generator. Just drip a little bit in there. Alright, we're producing some gas now. So what we'll do is go ahead and insert. Well, first let's dilute our solution. I'm adding distilled water to dilute the solution. And now we're going to add our gas tube and precipitate the gas, or the gold, one more time with this O2 gas. Let's pull this up so we can see what we got going on time-wise. See chunks of gold forming in there now. See the gold forming on top. Flakes of gold forming on top of the reaction beaker. Here we go. I think we're going to get ready to flash over right here. There it goes. Looks like chocolate milk. Let's get in here with some stannous. It's kind of hard to tell here because you get some particles of gold on there, but we'll be able to tell if we've got gold in solution, which we do not. So this reaction is complete. Reach back in here and shut off the acid to kill the gas flow. Piece of tubing out of here. Got a little bit of gold stuck on the end there. We can get that off later. Alright, in the interest of saving time, Let's see if we can move this over out of the way. Bring our heater back up here. What we'll do is set our gold, our precipitated gold, on some heat. We're going to boil this and see if we can get it to settle quickly. We've got it to settle out pretty good here. What we're going to do is pour this off now into a waste container. Let's see if we can pull this off. I usually dry the gold off, but as you can see, it's getting late. It's almost 9 o'clock. And so I think what we'll do is just go ahead and get our gold down into the melt dish wet. This will not affect the purity of it. Let's see what kind of weight we got on this thing. This is from our waste container. .1 grams of pure gold. Here's our pure gold bar that we just refined, triple refined. Look at the shine on that thing, man. It is beautiful. 24.1 grams. And what we'll do is we'll list this on the eBay site. I'm going to list it for $110 per gram. And if you can't afford to pay that, then just pass on it, please. But that will be the asking price for this piece of gold from my waste containers. All right, this will conclude the video. Thank you for watching.